This man has just been executed for a horrific crime that involved the fatal shooting of a dedicated police officer during a routine traffic stop that escalated into deadly violence. His name was Billy Leon Kearse, and he was put to death by lethal injection at Florida State Prison after more than 3 decades on death row. In this video, we'll dive into his final words, his last meal request, and the brutal acts that sealed his fate in the execution chamber, breaking down the chilling events step by step, from his troubled youth to the desperate aftermath. Billy Leon Kearse was born on October 26, 1972, in Fort Pierce, Florida, to a teenage mother in circumstances marked by extreme poverty and instability. His father abandoned the family when Kearse was 2 years old, leaving his young mother to raise him alone amid financial hardship and her own struggles, including heavy alcohol use during pregnancy, which experts later linked to Kearse's developmental issues. Kearse's childhood was defined by chronic neglect. Teachers reported him arriving at school hungry, poorly clothed, dirty, and uncared for, often roaming the streets foraging for food as a young child. Kearse's juvenile record began at age 8 in 1981 with referrals for being beyond control and petty theft, escalating to arrests for burglary, theft, criminal mischief, trespassing, and auto theft, primarily nonviolent property crimes linked to poverty and neglect, reflecting systemic failures rather than inherent criminality. Kearse dropped out after 8th grade, unable to progress further. Many cases were dismissed or resolved through rehabilitation, and in 1988, he escaped detention and was placed on community control. In 1989, he was arrested for car burglary and possession of burglary tools, and was sentenced in February 1990 to 4 years in prison followed by probation. Released shortly before the 1991 crime, Kearse was out on probation for an unrelated offense, and fearing he would be arrested for violating his probation, which influenced his actions during the fatal encounter. These factors, combined with his young age at the time of the crime, just 18 years old, only 84 days past his 18th birthday, played a central role in later appeals and mitigation arguments, with experts concluding he suffered from serious barriers that affected impulse control, judgment, reasoning, and his ability to navigate legal proceedings effectively. Billy Leon Kearse made a tragic decision that altered his life on January 18, 1991, in Fort Pierce, St. Lucie County, Florida. That evening, 18-year-old Kearse was driving a dark blue Monte Carlo with a broken headlight, the wrong way down a one-way street on Avenue A, between North 5th and North 6th Streets. He had just picked up a Domino's pizza and was with 21-year-old Rhonda Pendleton, heading to her brother's home on Avenue K. Fort Pierce Police Sergeant Danny Parrish, a 29-year-old officer known for being careful and safety conscious, spotted the violation and initiated a traffic stop. What might have been a routine encounter quickly escalated. Sergeant Parrish approached the vehicle and asked Kearse for his driver's license, which Kearse could not produce. He gave several false names and aliases instead. Parrish then ordered Kearse to exit the car and place his hands on top of the vehicle for a pat-down and handcuffing. As Parrish attempted to handcuff him, a physical struggle ensued when Kearse resisted, likely panicking because he was on probation for a car burglary and feared returning to jail. During the struggle, Kearse was hit in the eye, and in the chaos of the fight, Kearse managed to grab Parrish's 9mm service pistol from his holster and proceeded to shoot Sergeant Parrish 14 times, with 13 striking Parrish. 9 bullets struck Parrish's body, including one that severed his spinal cord, which would have paralyzed him from the waist down had he survived, and 4 hit his bulletproof vest. Parrish collapsed at the scene, mortally wounded. A nearby taxi driver heard the shots and alerted others. On getting to the scene, he saw a vehicle fleeing in speed and Parrish severely wounded. He immediately radioed for help using Parrish's equipment. On getting to the hospital, Parrish succumbed to his injuries and was pronounced dead. Kearse, who had fled the scene, was arrested at a Fort Pierce address linked to the vehicle's registration that same day. After being read his rights and waiving them, he confessed, stating he shot during the struggle because his probation was suspended and police were seeking him. His companion corroborated this. The motive was rooted in Kearse's desperate attempt to avoid arrest during the escalating confrontation, turning a minor traffic violation into the cold-blooded killing of a law enforcement officer performing his duties. Billy Leon Kearse's trial took place in the Circuit Court of the 19th Judicial Circuit in St. Lucie County, Florida on January 20, 1991. The prosecution's case centered on key evidence included Kearse's confession, ballistic matches from the service weapon, witness accounts from the area, including the taxi driver, and physical evidence from the scene tying Kearse to the struggle and shooting. Police pieced it together rapidly through the confession, recovered firearm, and forensic details of the wounds, 13 shots hitting an officer in the line of duty, proving first-degree murder and robbery with a firearm. The jury heard details of the struggle and how Kearse took Parrish's gun to avoid arrest. On the defense side, attorneys presented mitigating factors, including Kearse's difficult childhood, young age, just 18, confession, acceptable trial behavior, and circumstances of poverty, abuse, and neglect that shaped his actions. The jury weighed the presented factors as insufficient to outweigh the crime he committed. Kearse was convicted of first-degree murder and robbery with a firearm. In the penalty phase, they recommended the death penalty by an 11-1 vote. And he was sentenced to death for the murder on November 8, 1991, with a concurrent life sentence for the robbery. Billy Leon Kearse languished on death row for 35 years at Union Correctional Institution. He became a self-taught artist, creating intricate paintings with limited resources to share with family and friends, and a faithful man expressing remorse. "I am ashamed of my actions. I'm ashamed of the destruction my actions caused. I'm ashamed of being a murderer." But his lawyers never stopped launching numerous appeals to reverse the verdict or sentence. With every one of his appeals denied, including a 6th successive motion and habeas petition rejected by the Florida Supreme Court on February 25, 2026. The U.S. Supreme Court declined further review. Finally, on January 29, 2026, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed Billy Leon Kearse's death warrant, scheduling his execution by lethal injection for Tuesday, March 3, 2026. At 6 p.m. Eastern Time at Florida State Prison near Stark, the state's third execution of 2026. This came amid Florida's unprecedented pace, following 19 executions recorded in 2025 and earlier 2026 dates, renewing alarms about due process and short warrant periods. March 3, 2026, marked the day of Billy Leon Kearse's execution. He was 53 years old. He woke early that morning around 6:30 a.m., took his bath and had one visitor, which was his spiritual advisor, and was calm and in good spirits. Kearse declined a special last meal, opting instead for the standard prison fare provided to all inmates that day. The execution used lethal injection via a 3-drug cocktail at Florida State Prison. At around 6 p.m., the process began in the chamber. Kearse entered, was strapped to the gurney, and before the drugs were administered, the warden asked if he had any last words. He simply looked up and said, to his family, "I sincerely apologize for what I've done. There is no way I can ever repay that with this death. It will never repay that. And in turn I pray that my Father would give me strength to ask their forgiveness so I can go on my journey. All I can do is ask for their forgiveness to give you peace and resolve. Thank you." He made the statement expressing remorse, apologies and asking for their forgiveness. The drugs flowed shortly after. Kearse showed minimal visible reaction, was declared unconscious within minutes, and a physician pronounced him dead around 6:24 p.m. Eastern Time after vital checks. No complications were reported, and the process was described as routine by state officials. Witnesses included representatives from law enforcement, honoring Officer Parrish. Parrish's family, especially his wife Mirtha Busman, who has spent over 3 decades advocating for justice for her husband's death, expressed her feelings, saying, "I'm 60 years old. I didn't think I'd see this day." His family members said they couldn't live in Fort Pierce after their brother's death. For Parrish's loved ones and the Fort Pierce community, the day marked the end of a long wait for closure after the 1991 loss of a 29-year-old officer killed in the line of duty. This wraps up the chilling tale of Billy Leon Kearse, executed for murdering Fort Pierce Police Sergeant Danny Parrish. What are your thoughts on this case? Was justice served? Let me hear your thoughts in the comments. If you're a lover of creepy true crime stories, true crime documentaries, horror crime, unsolved mysteries, and the rest, you can do well to check out our twin channel Mysterious Dark Files for more videos like that.